I'm Dr. Yen, and I'm here to talk about how you can identify citations in the references and resources that you bring up in your searches. Now, the reason why this is so important is because when you know the citation type, whether it's a book or a journal article or a conference proceeding, any of those things, it makes it a lot faster and easier to find. It's also easier to citation chain backwards to find a body of research or a piece of work or things like that. The other thing is citations, identifying them and the different parts of a citation are often things that students miss on their quizzes and their finals. So what I wanted to do is give you a little bit of a cheat sheet, something that you can download below this video and use bits and parts of it to help you on your quizzes and finals. Okay, so citations, every single citation that you see has what I call a tell, clues to tell you whether or not it's a book chapter, journal article, conference proceeding, or a news article. I'm going to quickly go through some of these now. However, you also have a practice sheet that you can go through some of those citations yourself so you can see them. And there are answers at the very end so that you can check your work. And if you're still confused after this video, after the notes, after doing the practice sheets, please don't hesitate to come to one of us, ask questions, get that clarified so that it can help you with your future research. All right, so let's start with books, okay? And what I've done is I've just pulled from various different citation sources. You may see them in MLA, APA, Harvard, Chicago style. So each time, depending on what the publication is, your citations are going to look a little differently. But that's the reason why I kind of focus on certain characteristics that tell you what certain things are. So for books, you can see book titles usually are in italics. However, if you go electronically to search, they may or may not be in italics. But the big clue is that they're kind of simple. There's not a whole lot of detail in a book. The most important thing is you've got the book title, you've got the publisher, and the publication place. New York, San Francisco, as you can see in these examples, kind of tell you that it's a book because there's not much else. There's like a space where there's authors, date, title, and then the publisher. But it's the publisher and the title. The publisher and the publisher location that tend to tell you it's a book. All right. Book chapters sort of look like a book, except there's two sets of names. And you can see that here. These are the authors that are mentioned in the beginning, and usually they are. And then there's editors that are mentioned after the title of the chapter, okay? So usually when you see a book chapter, you have the author names, the title of the chapter, and then the editor names, followed by the title of the book that it's found in. Same as the other book, you've got the publisher location, but here's the tip-off. Book chapters often have pages. So if you're looking and you're wondering if this is a book or a book chapter, look to see if there's two sets of names and look to see if there are two titles, okay? The first title is going to be the title of the chapter. Second title is going to be the title of the book. And then again, you've got the book publisher, location, and then another dead ringer that this is not just a book but a book chapter is the page numbers. So in a book chapter, you're going to have two sets of names instead of one. You've got the authors and the editors, which goes after the author. Usually the editors go after the chapter title, which is right here, Augmented Reality Teaching and Learning. And then you also have, as you can see, editors. EDS tells you it's editors. It's not the author. Editors are usually the people that go out to different authors and researchers and collect the chapters. They curate them. They see which chapters should go in the book. Sometimes they edit the chapters, and then they put them together and publish the book. That's why they're editors, but the author comes in front. So the author is the person that actually wrote it. The editors are the ones that kind of curated, invited the author to do it, read it, and put the whole book together, okay? And the editors are the ones that edit the book title, which here is Handbook of Research on Educational Communications and Technology. Now, going back, there's also another tell that you can find here, which is you still have the publisher, okay, which tells you it's a book. You also have that publication, that publisher location, just like the book, except now as you can see, instead of one set of names, you've got two. Instead of one title, which originally was the title of the book, you now have two, chapter title and book title. Okay? And then finally, like we said before, for book chapter, the other thing you hardly will ever see, unless, of course, it's a book chapter, are page numbers, because the chapter you have to kind of go and find it. Incidentally, when you are looking in the library for these, for the chapter, you may want to look for the book instead of the chapter, because sometimes the chapters are not listed in the library catalogs, but the book is. All right, next, let's talk about journal articles. In a journal article, you're going to see, in addition to page numbers, one or two additional numbers. The first is this volume number, okay? And here you can see it's 27. And then issue number is right here, which is number 2. That's the issue. And then page numbers here, okay? Now, you're going to also see two titles again. The title of the article itself, and then the title of the journal that the article was found in. Usually, but again, if you're looking at electronic sources, it's not always the case. The journal title is in italics, okay? Oop, let me go back. I want to go, okay. Now in this one, you can also see it's here too. You see these extra numbers, 26.6. You also see the page number where they're found. These are tells that this is a journal article, okay? Here, you can see the author. You can see the title of the article in AI We Trust, Effects of Agency, Locus, and Transparency on Uncertainty Reduction in Human AI Interaction. And then you see the journal that it's in, Journal of Computer Mediated Communication. But again, it's these funny numbers right here, okay, that occur, that tell you it's a volume or something. And then in addition to the page numbers, okay? Now notice, depending on the citation that you find it, the year may be in different places. Here, the year is right after the author, which you normally see. But in this case, the year is right after the volume. So just another detail. But look for volume numbers, page numbers, issue numbers, two names, article name, journal name, and you're going to be good. All right, conference proceedings. The clues are in the words. So again, this might be something you may want to list in your notes. Look for words like proceedings, conference, annual meeting, transactions of, symposium, and annals. Sometimes you will also find a conference name. So here you'll notice, and conference proceedings are basically, you have a professional conference, people go to different presentations, sometimes they have a discussion. Conference proceedings are usually a record of that presentation meeting. Sometimes these presenters will create a paper for it, sometimes it's notes from the paper, sometimes it's summaries from people who attended the meeting. Whatever it is, the conference proceedings are a record of what happened in the meeting, okay? So like here, you can see the paper or conference proceeding is a cross-linguistic study of sound symbolism, the images and size, and this was presented at the annual meeting of the Berkeley Linguistics Society. So annual meeting is a dead ringer because conferences usually occur annually. In the second one, the word that you're looking for is proceeding, but also if it says conference, it is probably a conference proceeding. Next, news articles. Usually, not always, you have the month, date, and year. The other thing that's a dead ringer is usually there's the word news in it sometimes, not always. And also you'll find familiar titles, like for instance, New York Times or Washington Post, or even the name of your local paper is a news article, okay? The title of the newspaper is usually listed after the news article title, and then the news article title is usually, like the name of the newspaper, the title, let me say that again. The title of the newspaper is usually listed after the title of the news article. Okay, and the title of the newspaper is usually in italics, like I said, not always. The other thing too is usually you'll see an exact date because it tells you the day when it was published, especially if this is a daily paper. But sometimes you may just get a month and a year if it's a monthly publication. So here again, you can see author name, Lauren Camera. It was published in 2022, exactly on October 24th, 2022. Out of U.S. News, and their article was Pandemic Prompts Historic Decline in Student Achievement on Nation's Report Card. Okay, and that is it. Pretty easy. I think the best way that you can master this is to totally practice. Like, pull a book out, go to the references, and see if you can identify what those different references are. Is it a book, a journal article, a conference proceeding, etc.? By the way, this video is not at all inclusive of everything. There are a lot more things out there, like blogs, like music, movies. All of these things have to be cited. Reports, theses, and so on. These all have to be reported and cited in a particular way. But this is going to give you some idea of where to find the information so that you can put it into a search engine and actually come up with the search record, okay? Like I said, I suggest that you grab the slides, pull up the practice, and get some practice doing it. And again, if you're still kind of stuck on different things, come see one of us. All right? It is good to see you. If you have any questions, you can reach out to a librarian, and I'll see you next time. Bye.